All right, so this week we are going to be starting the process of working on your midterms. More so the next 2 weeks, but we need to introduce you to this idea so that you can go pick out some audio. And there are separate videos for how to put audio in Animate. And there's also a short one on where to find said audio, but what on earth are these referring to? So your midterm is to make a dynamic word video, and I'm going to play one right now so that you know what on earth I'm talking about. But it's basically making images, but mostly text, timed to something that has words to it. All right, so I've got, let's see right here. Hopefully the sound comes through okay. All right, so you can hear it fading out there because most people, if they don't have a 30-second commercial to work with, they have a snippet of a song. But you saw the words flying around on the screen in time with the song. And that is kind of the primary thing you're trying to do. And most of what was in there was pretty simple. They were just appearing. They were appearing in time. So this is a little bit, or is a lot more open-ended than most of the assignments we've done so far. You will choose the song. A lot more on that in other videos, or commercial, poem, whatever it is. You will choose the size and aspect ratio of this. Some of the examples I post later in a different place will maybe be even vertical. But don't just like blah whatever. Use something that you think is going to suit what we're looking at with the audio. Um, Animate things however you like, but don't do the same thing over and over again. Don't just have everything fade in the whole time. I don't care how well it's timed, that's boring. The one we just watched had things fading in, had things spinning, had things sliding in, had things just appearing. You don't have to throw the entire kitchen sink at it, but we want to think of position, rotation, scale, opacity. We are going to be looking at combining certain things this week. So combining certain filter effects and position opacity, like just a few different things going on at the same time, how that can really make things pop. But filters is also something we're going to look at a little bit more closely this week. So soundtrack must be copyright free or public domain. So Creative Commons public domain, something that's yours, something that you have direct permission from the person to use it for. This is worth 75 points, and I will dock you 30% of that if you do not give me some audio that is legally available to you as a student. And that will mean sending in a link to me before, next week, because you want to have as much time to work on this as possible. So as soon as you figure it out, send me a link, say, hey, this is okay, does this work? And I will get back to you as soon as I can, saying yes or no, hopefully yes. If you don't get that yes or no from me, be careful how much you start working on, because, unless you're somehow wildly secure in what you've selected, we want to make sure that you're not working on things that turn out to be copyrighted. And sometimes there's a little bit of a gray zone, but most of the time it's pretty obvious if something is in public domain or not. It has to be listed like that. So the other video goes over where to find certain things, but if you just see a random song up there, you can't assume anything. It should say it's in public domain. It should say it's in Creative Commons. We're going to have the next few weeks to work on this. I've altered our schedule a little bit for this semester. So this is due 3 weeks from this week class. So at the start of class, October 21st. Due to the various circumstances in which we are teaching this class, we can't really look at them in class together because I can't play these on Collaborate and have the sound like reliably match the video. And you just saw on that one that that has to be really tight. So we're going to do sort of an online forum. So at the start of that class, our class I believe starts at like 1:10. You can go onto a forum I will create, and you will post your stuff. We've done this before. It works out pretty well, and then people can watch them on their own time with their own headphones. And that way everyone can kind of see the work the way it was meant to be seen, and then you can all comment on it. Um, all right, so but this is meant to be, spending time outside of class. The amount of stuff we go over in class over the next couple weeks gonna be a little bit lighter. Normally we'd have like in-class work time. This semester that doesn't quite work out well, but we are gonna not have homework assignments. Obviously, this is the homework assignment, and the in-class stuff is going to be in support of this assignment. It's going to be, things that will help with this assignment. All right, so to break up me yammering on, I have another version of something. Let me see which one I want to show. Here's a commercial that someone made. Ah. All right. So they're really paying attention to design on that one, and paying attention to the look of it. So choosing colors that work well with a 60s TV commercial for Tang, choosing a font, right? The typeface, the size of it. Those are things that go into this as well. Don't just use Times New Roman unless for some reason you want it to look like a newspaper, which is a thing I've seen. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to how the audio relates to the video that you're creating, or vice versa. You want the video that you're creating to relate well to the audio. I'm also going to be looking at organization. So are things, you know, organized properly? I've actually got a couple. I'll look at one of these here. So we'll look at that in a second. Technical process. So if you're using a motion tween or a classic tween, did you convert things to symbols properly beforehand? Because if you didn't, I'm going to know. Are pivot points floating around all over the place, or were they set beforehand properly? Timing is a big one. Every example you're going to see from me for here and the ones I post online later are going to have impeccable timing. That's the one thing that you have the most control over, because it's just a matter of care, right? So even if you're keeping things simple in terms of the effects and how many things are changing, that one actually that we just watched, it was mostly things appearing and then they changed color, spun around occasionally for emphasis. But the timing on it is just right there. It's perfect. And so that's going to be one of the things we want to pay attention to quite a lot. This right here where it says there's one thing, there's a typeface that's missing. This is why we submit a SWIF as well as a Flash file for this assignment. But I just like to show this because I can look at this file and know what's going on. Audio layers labeled, first verse, second verse, third verse, the night character that's walking on through here. There's a Jabberwocky that's sort of animated a little bit. This one's very heavy on images, but I can tell most of these things are labeled, right? I can tell what's going on just by looking at it. I can look at the library. And as usual, the library is a little less organized than the impeccable timeline, but it's still all right. I mean, most things are labeled. There will occasionally be letters that, well, I mean, it's just the letter M, so how else are you going to label it anyways? But I don't see anything called symbol 2 in here, right? Like symbol 45. So we're kind of keeping things in a way that when I look at it, I can tell, okay, this person was careful as they made this. It's not all a mess as it goes, right? The end result, by the way, looks like this. Like I said, it's heavier on drawings. So you can see a lot of typefaces going on in there. Those, if you install them on your computer, that's great. They don't show up on anyone else's. So when you submit this to me, make sure you're always including the Swift file, and make sure you're kind of hanging on to those typefaces just in case. You also do have to submit the Flash file just so I can have it. Um, all right, so I'm going to have other examples posted somewhere else. But I just wanted to give you guys a general idea of what's going on, and so that we can talk about it, so you can think about it. We have stuff we're learning this week, and then so that you can have a minute to figure out what you're going to do. But we've got, I believe it's 3 classes from now. So 1, 2, yeah, you have 3 full weeks to work on this. So keep that in mind as you're planning. But you want to choose something as soon as possible so that you can get to work on it as soon as possible.